In the political notebook this week, the disciplining of Julius Malema. I've got with me Justice Malala. Justice, welcome.
Thank you, Ray. It's nice to be back here.
Now, there was a meeting of the ANC leadership and the ANC Youth League leadership this week. And out of that meeting came something, but nobody's quite sure what it is.
Well, first thing, we know that Julius Malema doesn't want Gwede Mantashe in that room, and Gwede obliged. So he went off to a graduation ceremony, as reported in the Times, of one of his children.
Now, he's the Secretary General of the ANC. He was in a very strong position to arrange the meeting so that it didn't clash with this graduation ceremony, you would have thought.
But that is the first fissure in the cracks, as it were, because the office of the Secretary General it's the CEO's office. This is the guy who serves letters. He's running the show. So, where did those charges emanate initially? They must have emanated from that office. But Julius Malema is on record as saying, we don't want Gwede Mantashe in that office come 2012. So I think Gwede took himself out, hopefully, so that the process can go ahead without him. But as you say, what came out of that meeting? And that is what all of us, 5 days later, are still wondering, because if you look at it.
Well, it was left to the Deputy Secretary General.
Indeed.
And she seemed to do it, and the Afrikaans phrase comes to mind, met lang tande.
I think it's a beautiful phrase. But look at how the body language of that whole thing. Here's Thandi Modise sitting right there. Here's Vuyiswa Tulelo on her right, who's the Secretary General of the Youth League. Here's Floyd Shivambo, who we know is trying to dig up some stuff about all of us journalists. So, surrounded by them, she tries to say, yes, we have preferred charges, which she does say finally. And yet, in the same meeting, Vuyiswa Tulelo goes on a long rant and says, actually, he was saying this on an ANC Youth League platform, on an ANC Youth League mandate, and therefore, all of us in the ANC Youth League as the leadership, we take responsibility for it. Now then, after saying we are charging him, the message that comes across from Thandi Modise is that, oh, well, we'll think about the charges. And anyway, he did apologize to Jonah Fisher, the BBC guy that Julius Malema insulted and kicked out of a meeting. And when he went to Zim, it wasn't that bad. So essentially, I think Julius Malema has outplayed, outsmarted, outgunned the African National Congress leadership.
And they're all very sort of nervous of him, aren't they? I mean, Gwede left for the graduation ceremony. Matthews Pauser didn't even attend the meeting. He was like, you know what, this one I'm not even going to... And then Jacob Zuma was in and out of the room,
there was a time
tending to other business.
There was a time when if one was summoned by the top 6, this was big stuff. By the National Working Committee of the ANC, this was big stuff. But now the top 3 are out of there. Julius Malema's delegation from the Youth League is basically running the show. I think the ANC the ANC leadership we can say after that meeting is scared of Julius Malema. I think when word started filtering out that people in the ANC are now saying, oh, Jacob Zuma, when you had your Sono no Koza problems, when you had other problems with your reputation and some of the things you did, we stood by you. It's payback time, and Jacob Zuma is now well and truly shackled.
And now the extraordinary scenes are playing themselves out. You've got police chasing away the delegates of a rival to Malema in Limpopo.
I thought, I think your reporter Dominic put that up on the Times website, and actually the interview with Masocha, the kid who was the ANC Youth League guy in Limpopo, and that clip shows exactly what has happened, and it shows abuse of state resources. When the president of the ANC Youth League kicks out a private security company, the MK veterans who've been brought in to look after the conference, and kicks out the leadership and delegates from the conference, gets police to come and protect him while he installs a leader of his own choosing on a democratic structure. If we allow that to happen in the ANC, imagine what's going to happen with our elections nationally and probably next year with the local government elections. It's something to be worried about.
Now, isn't there, I mean, if you think about how Thabo Mbeki ran the ANC, I mean, I think the police would have probably chased Julius Malema out of the conference hall. But, you know, is there not maybe a sort of case for revisionism here? Maybe Mbeki was so autocratic because it's the only way to run an organization like this.
I don't think so. In many ways, Thabo Mbeki, at least he knew what he stood for. In this ANC leadership, you don't exactly know who stands for what, except for the fact that clearly Julius Malema and some around him want to make a bit of cash while the going is good. Revisionism around Thabo Mbeki, I think, and I've written my column for Monday about this. You know, that poster in Minneapolis that came up recently where it's George Bush saying, "Miss me yet?" And there are quite a few people going, "I miss Thabo Mbeki now." I don't know if I miss him that much, but I think what it says is that there's no leadership right now. When we start missing Thabo Mbeki because he was so autocratic, it means that we are not getting the vision, we're not getting the strategy, we're not getting the tactics from this ANC leadership, and that's a problem.
But we're also just not getting the sort of, you know, the top six at the meeting.
We're not getting that. They're not pitching up. I mean, if you talk about lack of leadership and lack of the top six, President Zuma has not spoken at all about Hitachi Power Africa and the Chancellor House's stake. The Treasurer General, Matthew Sposa, says the head of Chancellor House is lying. He says it live in the Sunday Times on the front page and in the review section. You know, it's free for all.
It's a free for all, isn't it?
It's a free for all, and that shows a lack of leadership and a lack of a central body that says this is the line of march in the ANC. It's not there.
And that's the case in the party, but perhaps more worryingly, perhaps for the country as well. I mean, it's been a year now since we appointed the head of planning in the presidency. No plans have been drawn up.
Well, the head of planning, no plans have been drawn up. On the other hand, if you're looking for, if you want to know what's happening with our economy and macroeconomic policy, do you look to the head of planning? Do you look to the finance minister? Do you look to the economic planning minister? Collins Chabanikan doesn't have a measurement for the report cards either. So that's a problem there. You're absolutely right.
On that note, that's all we have in the Political Notebook this week.